Hello, hello. Happy Monday. Coming at you live here in Insight Production Studios in Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Robert Morales, and it's Monday Market 15, the 15-minute show that takes about 30 or so. So sit back, relax, grab your late afternoon coffee because I'm supposed to do this at 2, and it's almost 5. So bringing you the most up-to-date information about the Phoenix market, houses, all about this residential stuff. I'll be taking questions here as we go along. So if you want to go ahead and type them in as we go, we can answer them, perhaps. It may take the show a little bit longer, but that's kind of what we're used to. I'll try to get to those as we go along, but if you can give us a little love, a little bit of maybe a thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, get that subscribe button because I love those loves, and as much love as you want to give me, I appreciate it. Especially when you subscribe, and especially when you give the little thumbs up on YouTube, because that kicks things up. So thank you. Hello. So it is Monday, and there's always so much to go over and pack it all in, but I never seem to get around to it. But I'm going to try. I'm really going to try this week. I'm really going to try to drill down. So starting off with the bigger picture, dwindling down to the Phoenix market. Here we go. So some optimism, some good things, and some, we're in the middle of March. It's the end of the first quarter, and things are going, crazy still. I think for anybody that's buying a house, anybody that's selling a house, you already kind of know what's going on with the market. So there's not a whole lot I'm going to tell you that's going to be eye-revealing, but it kind of gives you some hints of like, well, maybe there might be a little bit of a change in both the buying and selling side. Really depends. It's all speculation. Everybody's going to tell you, and everything that I do and people I come across, everybody has an opinion. Everybody seems to have one. Everybody thinks you have half the people that say it's going to crash. You have the people saying that this market's going to continue to skyrocket. And you know what? They're not wrong, and they're not completely right either. So I'm going to speculate based on what I'm seeing. And so obviously the opinions and things that I share here, I will be... they'll be just guesses. So be informed, make decisions. If you have questions here, hello, Padmita. If you have questions, go ahead and type them in or just ask me after the show, whatever you want to do. So getting right into it. Globally, we have supply coming up. Look at this. Supply of houses. If you're looking at supply, we've talked about this before. A good balanced market is a good 6-month supply of houses. So, let's see, at the beginning of April, we had a little over 7 months supply last year, and it just plummeted. The interest rates, decreased. There's just a surge of people going into single family homes, out from those city centers out into the more rural, I guess, more suburb areas. That supply just plummeted down to about 3 months supply. And the beginning of this year, it kicked up. I mean, this is national, so this is United States numbers. So we're looking at a 4-month supply. So that's, if you see here, roughly about 4 months supply. You can kind of see it's kind of staying there, and this is one of the peak housing seasons. So the first quarter into second quarter is always a peak housing season. People in the market looking for houses to buy, they typically want to buy between, February, March, all the way up to about June as they get ready for the new school year. And as we know, the vaccine is coming out, hopefully, and what Biden has indicated, the vaccine should be available for all U.S. citizens who's wanting one by, I think he said May 1st, right? Is that what it was? Anybody have any... I try to follow as much as I can and try to remember as much as I can, but I think it was May 1st. Pretty sure it was May 1st. Could be wrong, but double check me. And if you have any, like I said, if you want to correct me, please do that in the thing there, in the comments. So that's a good sign when we're having housing stable. Supply is stabilizing across the United States. I think that with that surge last year, people buying and people going out there and purchasing what they needed to, it's kind of subsiding a little bit. And I, like I've said last week and into this week, when we had, back in January, 30, 40 offers on a house, and we're declining now to about 8 to 10 offers, that's a good sign. At least for a buyer. For a seller, it really doesn't matter how many offers you get because you only need one. But, for me as an agent and relating it back to you, as a buyer, that's a good sign that things may be coming kind of stabilized to whatever degree, whether that's the indications of a crash or it's actually, our market just kind of being subdued a bit. So other things globally, labor force. If you want to look at Arizona, bring this up real quick. In Arizona, unemployment is pretty stable. I mean, we went up a little bit as far as unemployment goes, but we're been right around that 6.5 since December. I'm curious to see what it ends up being, February, March. But unemployment, lower unemployment number is good for our state. We don't want people that are unemployed. Unemployed people means no business growth. At least it's an indication of that. So when we don't have people who are working, we don't have stability in our economy, which also means stability in the housing market. Also, to note, please note, go on here, go back here, and interest rates. The 10-year treasuries continually going up. As you can see, at the beginning of the year, interest rates are, the 10-year treasury rate was about 1.1, and now it's hovering about 1.6. And you do see that in the interest rate market with housing. I think the last thing I checked, it was hovering in and around 3% when this time last year, or I should say after the slowdown and they lowered interest rates, were around 2.5. Correct me if I'm wrong. All you lenders out there, please do that. But as far as I know right now, interest rates are hovering, slightly, kind of, sort of, around 3%. I don't know what this LendGo thing is. I don't know if that's accurate, by the way. I don't think that's an accurate quote. So we got that coming along. So the big thing this last couple weeks, or I should say this last week, was the stimulus plan. How is it going to affect you, and what's going to happen to you if you're in that situation where you have a looming eviction or you have a mortgage issue with your home? Some good news and some concerning news, especially if you're a renter. So rent relief, the moratorium ends towards the end of the month. So the eviction moratorium again is ending. There are some constitutional challenges to that. Texas, I don't remember the city, but there was an overturned case there where they felt, or the judge there felt that it was the eviction moratorium was illegal and unconstitutional. So this article kind of highlights that a little bit. Also, as far as home ownership, these mortgage forbearances are still kind of a concern. Mortgage forbearance currently ends at around June of this year. So the one thing about that is that the evictions are the big one. So that's the thing I'm watching in these next 30 to 60 days. How the eviction moratorium is going to affect supply. From that same article that I showed you, it's indicating 95, and I have some concerns that this might not be the most accurate numbers, but 95% of single family homeowners, or I should say the mom and pop people that own homes that rent them out, 95% of them are those mom and pop rentals. I mean, a lot of investors do purchase condos, purchase multifamily, but the single family home, it's saying 95% are basically you and I, people who may own a couple different properties, maybe own an investment property and rent it out. And so when it comes to those people, those are the people that are typically making mortgage payments on those. And if they don't have renters that are making their rental payment, then there is concern there that those homeowners are making their mortgage payments. So is there a supply coming up? I don't know. I want to see what that looks like. And we will start to notice, and may start to see towards the end of the month. And I would say we'd probably really get a feel for that as it gets into April. And people, if they can't, again, they'll start to evict their tenants, and we'll start seeing a supply, because it does. I've rented out my own home before, and it becomes very frustrating when you try to rent out a house and you don't have a tenant that's making the payment, and you have to eat it. And hopefully, those homeowners, the ones that are renting out those investment homes, are getting the assistance in the mortgage moratorium. So with that said, I just wanted to highlight a little bit more, just again, kind of drill down. We are here for people who are coming to Arizona and for people who are interested in Arizona. So the Phoenix market in particular. So if you have any questions about the Phoenix market, give me those loves, and then ask any questions you want. I am here for you. Anyway. Okay, so the next slide I wanted to go to was kind of to show you a little bit about where people are coming from. And what's going on with them. So as you can speculate, most of the people we have here in Arizona are coming from California, yes. A lot of people are migrating to Texas, coming out of Illinois, and you have coming out of Louisiana, and you can kind of see that these are the, out of the Panhandle. People are on the East Coast, I think, are flooding kind of Florida, but we are on the, I think, on the top list of states that people are migrating to. So this kind of gives you a general idea of where they're coming from and where they're going to. And Arizona is looking like the reddest on the map there. Also, too, another reason people, I think, are wanting to come to Arizona here is simply for the property tax. The property taxes, Arizona is ranked number 8 in the nation. Number 1 is New Mexico. I don't know why people don't want to go to Mexico. Actually, I kind of know why, but that's a personal opinion. I have friends that are from there, but there's not unfortunately, there's not a whole lot going on in Mexico. Maybe the balloons every year. That's kind of a nice thing to go see. I've been there before, and I really, after you kind of go through downtown Albuquerque and stuff, I mean, there's not a whole lot there. So obviously they save a lot in taxes, but I'm not talking trash about Mexico. If you want to save, there's some good space out there for you out-of-staters that want to bypass Arizona. Oh boy! So new home sales. I wanted to kind of bring that up too. Back here, new home sales in the Phoenix area is up 18%. So these are new single-family homes, new construction homes. The place you want to go is Avondale, and next, I wouldn't have thought Coolidge. Actually, I did find a buyer a Coolidge home. It was just on like out of nowhere. I called this new build down there, and they were able to get my buyer in there. But if you're looking at the new builds, Avondale and Coolidge, a little bit of Casa Grande in there, and also Glendale. Those are your top 4 cities for new home builds. If you're out of the Phoenix area and you're coming from out of town and you're looking for a new construction, I target those. Coolidge and Casa Grande, a little bit out of town, they're not necessarily close to Phoenix, but depending on where you work, which is what we'll get into next, depending on where you work, that may be sufficient, but it gets you in a new home. So new construction out there in the Coolidge area. Avondale too. Don't forget Avondale. Let's get rid of that. And then also, too, what I wanted to show is kind of like the centerpieces of income. It also kind of shows, where there's some activity too. So if you're coming from out of town, if you're coming out of state, the top earners in the 80,000 income range and above are in the darker blue areas, and then the lighter are the lower income levels. So you can kind of see from this map where people and essentially the jobs are. And if you do some overlays, you'll kind of see that these areas in darker blue are where the job centers are, or where typically people with higher incomes are. Down here you have Intel. You can kind of see in this area it's a darker blue. I think Boeing is in this general area here. I can't remember where the Amex Center is, but there are some other couple places. But this coming from out of town, this kind of gives you an idea where income levels are, and if you're in these brackets, that may be a target area you might want to look at as far as making money there. And the overall market. So if you're coming, and I'm working with a lot of people from out of state, and if you're looking for rentals, I think that's kind of the first thing. I'm not coming across a lot of people that are coming straight from out of state. There are some people, and that's what's driving the prices a little bit. But there are a few out there that want to come and test the water a little bit regarding the state in rental rates. As you can see in this next slide, rental rates in the Phoenix area have risen tremendously since 2014. The average, or the median, I should say, is about $1,800 a month. So if you're looking for a single family resident between 1,500 to 2,000 square feet, that $1,800 a month price point is where you're at, or you want to look at or stay within. So Q1 2021, people coming from out of state, if you want to find a single family residence, you're looking at about $1,850 a month. In median as far as the Phoenix market goes. Let's get out of that. More and more numbers. And for you buyers out there who are still holding out hope, like I said, oh, that's not the slide I want to show you. For all you buyers out there that are holding on hope, we have a supply issue. Simple, straight out supply issue. We don't have enough homes for sale. People are still holding on. People are still concerned about their, employment. Single family is the place to go, but we're getting back into work. The freeways are busier. It's taking me longer to get to work now. And before it's just breeze in 25 minutes down the 60, down the 10. Now it's taking me roughly about 35. So people are getting back to work. I think a lot of people are being called. It is March with the pandemic subsiding a bit with vaccinations. People are going back to work. But also they're holding on to their homes. So again, we have a supply issue, and you can kind of see it with this chart, just down year over year. I mean, this was a supply, back in March week, roughly about this time last year, where we had a huge supply, only because people weren't buying houses. People were concerned. People were afraid at the time. And now, again, pointing back, we do have a supply issue. We don't have enough homes for resale. And to give you kind of an overall arching idea of what the market looks like, the demand index has been lowering. I mean, there's been less demand. I think that ties back into a couple different things, with the interest rates increasing and people being able to qualify. I mean, people who weren't able to qualify with a higher interest rate are now qualifying, either have found a rental or going into alternative things. I mean, just people get discouraged. And the demand index has been decreasing. You want this yellow. If you're an agent in the greater Phoenix, or actually really anywhere, but if you're an agent, you want yellow, because that yellow means balance. So when you look at this number here, you may speculate that green means good. Green just means it's just aggressive or higher than it needs to be. So 100 right here, the demand index being at 100 is a balanced market. Supply index, the same thing. You would think green means good, but it's not. That just means we have less supply. Red means we have no supply. Balanced market, you want yellow. So we're still in a supply deficit, which is aggravating the overall index. So we have overall turnover, just tremendous amount of activity in the market, but it's only because we have less supply. And we still have a good set of demand, but this over the last few months has been lowering. So again, for those people that are speculating that there may be a crash, that there may be an adjustment in the market, this could be it. I don't know. Demand is decreasing, and I think largely because of those interest rates, and potentially because people are concerned. I don't know. I just speculate. I just do this show. I bring you information. And as far as the demand goes to my last slide. As you can see from this Wall Street Journal article, people with a higher credit score, majority of what loans are being approved are people in that higher credit score echelon. It's been fair and even with the people in the 660 credit score. Less than 620 is way down here. So those are your 580s. Most likely, I've never seen a loan get approved for less than 580 credit score, and those are usually portfolio loans. Portfolio loans are typically loans that lenders hold on to that they don't sell to Fannie and Freddie. And there's a whole other thing about that. So again, for buyers and sellers, it's still aggressive. We're making offers for a couple of our clients, and we're seeing at least 5 to 10 offers, which is in my mind good, because that's way better than 2 months ago, which was like 30, 40 offers. So there's some good indications for you buyers out there. For you sellers out there, again, you only need one contract. It's still an active market. There are some concerns about the eviction moratorium that's ending towards the end of the month, what that means to supply. If you're holding on to your house thinking, you know what, I'm going to wait another couple months, maybe I can get a couple extra thousand. Potentially, yes, but also the concern is if this eviction moratorium releases and we continue to have supply in there, if there's a tremendous shift in any market, a large part of the housing market is because of sentiment, because of emotions. People will start doing emotional things because they're concerned or they're scared, which right now means holding on to houses. As we get back into work, I'm hoping that unemployment will decrease. We will have more jobs out there. People will be working, and it gives me a job. If people are buying and selling houses, it gives me a job. Once we get into a foreclosure market, it's not good. It's not good for anybody. So again, if you guys have questions or anything, you can always type them in, and I'll answer them either now, later, or some other time. I don't know what time I'm at. I lost my time clock somewhere. But that's your Monday Market 15. So I'm keeping an eye on things. I hope the unemployment number still continues to decrease. I hope there's not a huge shift in the market. I do believe there's going to be some shifts in these next couple months. So if you're holding on to sell, if you're buying hodl to your rental property or investment property, your home, hoping that you'll increase, or give it another 6 months, maybe I'll make another 10,000, 20,000. There are some numbers to support that. There's also some concerns that don't. So whatever it is, whatever the concern is, you can always call me. You can always email me. Always contact me, whichever way you can. Leave comments in the section below. Give us the hearts. We love that. But I think that's about it. Yeah. And I didn't set up my outro video, but I will, and I'll keep talking until I do. But again, Robert Morales with RCO Network, and this is my outro video. Look at that. And I'll catch you guys maybe next time. Oh, yeah. Tune in Thursday. Thursdays are unedited show at the 5 o'clock hour. We also have Finance Friday with Frank. He's back this week. Last week he had his one of his license tests, and so he'll be back at the noon hour. So if you want to log in there at noon, we'll be talking about finances, talking about the things that make money, and we'll be back here on Monday. Hopefully at 2, not 5, like this week. Hopefully at 2. But we'll catch you guys next week. See ya.